This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co.
Hey, listen! It's too late for a
I
bus.
said, let him have it, Mac.
I think everyone can agree that Knuckles fans have been eating particularly good for the last couple of years. With him taking a starring role in a blockbuster film, Sonic Movie 2 was just spectacular. Then of course you have Sonic Origins, where he once again played a starring role and was playable. Then you go over to Sonic Frontiers, where he had his very own animated prologue, and he's likely going to become a playable character in the future. And most recently, probably one of the best things that's happened to him is that he's going to be getting his own TV show. So yeah, Knuckles fans are eating really good. However, I think there's a really good and big reason for why Knuckles is getting so much attention. Not only is he like a really well-liked character, but in my personal opinion, I feel like Knuckles is a main character who's playing the role as a side character. Allow me to explain. When you think about characters like Tails or Amy or even Dr. Eggman, I feel like they basically are synonymous with Sonic the Hedgehog. Whenever they're around, Sonic is likely going to be with them. I mean, even at the beginning of Sonic Frontiers, the closest people by Sonic's side were Amy and Tails. Notice the character who was absent from that scene entirely, Knuckles. And the only reason he ended up on the Starfall Islands is because he was doing his own adventure. He was going around the Angel Islands and finding out new things. So when I say that Knuckles is a main character playing as a side character, I mean that Knuckles has so much going on and can be separated from Sonic to a certain extent where he can have his own stories and be that main character. But he plays as a side character in Sonic's case because the story isn't focused on Knuckles, it's focused on Sonic. So the only reason why we see what happens with Knuckles in these Sonic the Hedgehog stories like the Sonic Frontiers prologue is because it directly relates to what's going to happen with Sonic in the future. And there are other characters I can easily make this claim for, like Shadow the Hedgehog or Silver the Hedgehog. I think these two are prime examples of Sonic characters who really could have their own thing going for them, but just so happen to get tied up in Sonic's story, in which they become side characters. Another great example is Blaze the Cat, who literally has her own dimension that you could have a whole game centered around. But I digress. This video is about Knuckles, and why I believe that he should have his very own game. So for starters, you're probably thinking, well, okay, Knuckles does have that main character energy you're talking about, but what else does he really have going for him? Well, firstly, Knuckles is a well-known and likable character. And even though this is such a simple statement, it's something that really should be emphasized more often, because the only reason Shadow the Hedgehog was able to get a spin-off or even return to the series in the first place is because the fandom loved him so much they didn't want to see him go after just one game. In other words, if Shadow was not a well-liked character, we probably would not have seen him anywhere after Sonic Adventure 2. And in all honesty, I feel like there was no one who really disliked Knuckles in the Sonic movie 2. I feel like that was like the main source of praise for this movie. I mean, Knuckles was one of those characters who you were like really excited to see on the screen every time he showed up. So I feel like that only amped up the Knuckles praise and excitement. So whenever he showed up in any piece of media, people are always excited to see more of this character. Further than just movies now, I'm talking about Knuckles in general, seeing him in games, TV shows, anything. So having him have his own game makes a lot of sense from that perspective as well. And honestly, I think this has been something that's on my mind for a while because I think a lot of other Sonic characters should get more time in the spotlight and maybe have their own games or some kind of story going on there where you play as them more often. Just some more playable opportunities for other characters. I've been trying to get this to happen in many videos. I've made this clear with several different videos where I've gone over times where characters could have had spin-offs games or something along those lines. And I think Knuckles is great, but I think the only thing that people are deterred by is treasure hunting. They feel like his gameplay style is limited to just doing that, when it could literally be so much more than that. And I think Frontiers setting up for the future with this whole idea of playable Tails, Knuckles, and Amy could show us a future where we see a playable Knuckles in a better light, you know, where he's not just looking for the pieces of the Master Emerald, which is something I feel like he shouldn't be doing anyway, but if he does, just not in this capacity. Knuckles looking for the Master Emerald pieces is fine, but I have to agree with all of you when I say this, that treasure hunting levels are not fun at all. Yes, I love Sonic Adventure for its variety, and same goes for Sonic Adventure 2, but there are some aspects of the game that I just really am not huge on, like the treasure hunting levels. But I think we can just do better with that. Maybe you have Knuckles look for the Master Emeralds if you have to, but you have him do it where it's not like he has to dig through the ground or like look around aimlessly with the radar, nothing like that, but something more fun. And I will get into that in a minute, but firstly, I want to take a look at today's sponsor, Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. Now you're probably wondering, what is Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co? And I'm glad you asked, because Tokyo Treat is a monthly pop Japanese snack subscription box where you get up to 20 of the latest, most exclusive, limited edition, and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks that are only available in Japan for a limited time, like Sakura Pepsi, Japanese sake Kit Kats, ramen, and so much more. On the other hand, Sakura Co is a monthly authentic Japanese snack subscription box, where Sakura Co is supporting local Japanese snack makers. Each box comes with 20 traditional, authentic, and artisan Japanese snacks, including Japanese teas and special Japanese tableware. While the content of the boxes differ in so many ways, the overall objective is the same, inviting everyone to experience Japan from the comfort of their own homes through these amazing snack boxes. However, I think the coolest thing about these boxes is that each month they have their own unique theme. This month, the theme for Sakura Co is Moonlit Sakura, and for Tokyo Treat, it's Sakura Starlight Snack Fest. And the themes correlate to what you might see in the boxes, which makes them really cool and really fresh each and every single month. And you might think that all of these snacks provided to you at one sitting can be a lot of information and maybe a bit overwhelming, but they actually give you a booklet that tells you all of the information about each and every single snack inside the box, as well as a whole bunch of information about Japanese culture. For me, I would say that my favorite treat from Sakura Co had to be the Ichigo roll, and from Tokyo Treat, it had to be the banana caramel Kit Kats. But I want to hear what you guys have to say after you check out the link in the description down below and get your very own box. So like I said, I feel like it's really important to remember that Knuckles is a character who can do so much more than dig through the ground and look for emerald pieces. I know for a fact that I was not the only one completely mesmerized by his appearance in that Sonic Frontiers prologue. Seeing him fly around Angel Island, climb up walls, and do what Knuckles does best was so cool. And honestly, I feel like Knuckles in the Sonic Frontiers prologue basically sets it up to say that there is so much more to explore in Angel Island, areas in which he's never even seen before. And I feel like you can have an entire game based off of that. We can play as Knuckles in Angel Island as he finds out this new area, and we as Knuckles have to explore it and basically find out what's what. And it could be kind of like Sonic Frontiers where we just explore the area and, piece everything together. There is another thing that I thought about that I'm sure many other people have done or at least made mods of or something like that, but I think it'd be really cool to see it kind of emulated like the Werehog formula. And I know a lot of people really weren't a fan of the Werehog gameplay, but I found it to be really fun, and the gameplay still holds up to this very day in my opinion. Also, I love leveling up and learning all kinds of new combos and different moves. Knuckles could operate in the same way because, listen, this dude is revolutionary with his fist, and as he says in the movie, he's trained in all forms of combat. So not only would it be cool to see him do all sorts of different combos in a game, but it would also make a lot of sense too. I think the coolest thing that this game could do is just explore Knuckles' connection to the Master Emerald. I feel like we got just a taste of that with the Sonic Frontiers prologue, but they can do so much more with this, and I feel like Knuckles should have like the strongest connection to the Emeralds because he spends so much time with the Master Emerald. He should be able to be someone who's just like, someone who's able to manipulate the power of the Master Emerald so easily. Like, he should be able to do it better than characters like Sonic or Shadow or anyone else in the series, and they could really go deeper with that whole concept there. Now, what about the enemy for this game? Now, I think the easiest thing to say could be something like Dr. Eggman, but then that would mean that Sonic could probably get involved. But that doesn't necessarily mean that anyway. I think you could have a Knuckles versus Eggman thing going on there, but I think it'd be even cooler if we created new villains who somehow were on Angel Island. As Knuckles previously stated, the ruins of Angel Island are so vast and big that he has yet to explore every single facet. Every day he's finding something new. So what if he were to find this unknown species that was actually silently destroying Angel Island and he had to work to stop them? As far as Knuckles knows, the only people who live on Angel Island are just the animal creatures and also the Chow species. So for him to find out a completely new species existed there the entire time and he was completely unaware could be some really earth-shattering stuff and could serve for a great storyline. But with that being said, do you believe that Knuckles deserves his own video game? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to see what you guys have to say, whether you agree or disagree. Anyway, thank you again so much for watching. This is Sonic signing out. Have a super blessed day, y'all.
Why are you playing that trash?